As it was in last week, we are surrounded with multiple of holidays in Ethiopia this week and over the weekend. Fiche Chambalala, Sidamas nation in southern Ethiopia, New Year, the completion of the holy fasting season in Muslims, Ramadan, and Easter Sunday, the second resurrection, a day for the commemoration of Lord Jesus Christ's second revelation for the apostles, in particular to Thomas, who was present at the first one. To all who are celebrating and getting ready for the one, happy holidays. Hello and welcome to our Saturday, April 30, 2022 program. This is Shimelis Gebremichael with UMD News Package for today. We invite you all to stay with the program, and for your feedbacks, please use our email address newstips2020umd at gmail.com. UMD extensively works in understanding, measuring, and doing matters. Our news team attempts to update you with the latest in Ethiopia, the Horn, Africa, and the world in general. Any of your support, including the provision of news tips, comments, questions, and suggestions, are always welcomed. Before we jump into our news packet today, here are the headlines for the major news over this week. Over over 40 killed in anti-Muslim attack in Gonder, North Ethiopia. Number increased as tension escalate. Religious fathers are calling to ease the hostilities. Sherman declined invitation to co-host Ethiopian finance minister. Tensions between Ethiopia and Egypt over a highly controversial dam on the Blue Nile are expected to rise over the next few months. Asia Times Danish Kamet wrote a detailed opinion piece recently. Our News in Detail segment has the details on this topic towards the end. Now, we will move into providing more information on this and other news items. As we always say, please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, view the programs in other platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. The first segment of our news is News in Brief, and first up is a news that comes from Gonder and other parts of the country. Over 40 killed in anti-Muslim attack in Gonder, northern Ethiopia. Number has increased as tensions escalate. Reports indicate that Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Supreme Court Council on Thursday urged the government to provide attacks against Muslim and Gonder and immediately bring perpetrators to the court of law. The call for an immediate investigation into the deadly attack came in a news conference by Haji Mufti Omar Idris, president of the Ethiopian Islamic Body, amid a probe by Muslims and Christians alike, taking it to social media calling for justice for the slain people. The deadly attack against the Muslims in Gonder took place on Tuesday and sent shockwaves across Ethiopia. At least 40 Muslims were killed. A mosque was torched, and several businesses run by Muslims were destroyed. An eyewitness told a Dotlu agency to condition of anonymity due to security concerns. Tensions have been escalating all the way to the southern nation city of Warabe. Churches were also burned in this location, which added more concerns to the crisis. Over 370 people were arrested until yesterday in the Amhara regional state in connection with the incident. Protests also intensified in the country, condemning acts of killings and destructions. Following the ongoing arrest, His Holiness Abuna Matthias, Patriarch of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, Archbishop of Aksum, and Ijege of the See of St. Tekle also called upon the laity to refrain from any acts of violence and calm down the situation. His Holiness also called upon religious actors and other concerned bodies to play their level best in discharging their responsibilities of addressing the chaos and lawlessness in the country. Sherman declined invitation to co-host Ethiopian Finance Minister. On April 19th, Congressman Brad Sherman was invited to co-host a reception to the Republican Club for Ethiopian Finance Minister Ahmed Shide and Ethiopian Ambassador to the United States Fesuma Ragga. While the Ethiopian government's imposed media blackout has made a tracking the full scale of devastation inside Tigray impossible. Recent reports estimate that 500,000 Tigrayans have died, nearly 10% of Tigray's population. However, Sharman agreed that he would host the event only if the Ethiopian government agreed to allow humanitarian organizations such as the World Food Program, USAID, and the International Committee of the Red Cross to bring into the Tigray region 100 trucks of humanitarian and food aid that are desperately needed by the people of Tigray. In fact, the UN has said that 108 trucks are needed every day to meet the humanitarian need within Tigray, yet less than 5% of needed aid has been allowed to enter Tigray during the last month since a humanitarian truce was declared by the Ethiopian government. The U.S. State Department has said the Ethiopian and Eritrean government's blocking of humanitarian access to Tigray is unacceptable and unequivocally called upon the governments of Eritrea and Ethiopia to take all necessary steps to ensure that the forces in Tigray cease and desist this responsible conduct. While Congressman Sherman welcomes the development that 74 humanitarian aid trucks and 5 fuel tankers were able to make into Tigray starting on April 25th, this slow aid falls short of what the UN has said is needed to save millions of starving people, 100 trucks of humanitarian aid a day, every day. Ethiopian peacekeepers from Tigray seek asylum in Sudan. More than 500 UN peacekeepers from Ethiopia's war-torn Tigray region have refused to return home, citing fears for their safety and highlighting deepening ethnic fissures as they request political asylum in Sudan. Until last year, Ethiopia's forces accounted for the vast majority of the around 4,000 member peacekeeping mission in Abyei. UN peacekeeping spokesperson told AFP in New York most of the Ethiopian forces have returned home, but some have now requested asylum. The spokesperson said a number of peacekeepers have chosen to return and are seeking international protection. The responsibility to grant asylum lies with the Sudanese authorities, who are being assisted by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in receiving these individuals. According to Major Gebremichael, a total of 528 Ethiopian soldiers from Tigray have requested asylum in Sudan. A Tigrayan ex-peacekeeper, a figure confirmed by two of his comrades, also contacted by AFP. Government not barring Eritrean nationals from leaving Ethiopia. The spokesperson of the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Dina Mufti, said the Ethiopian government will cautiously examine the case of Eritrean passport holders with foreign visas who complained of being barred from leaving Ethiopia. And the press, the spokesperson stated his awareness that Eritreans who are residing in Ethiopia and hold valid visas from various foreign countries have been complaining of being barred from leaving Ethiopia. He said there are legal, documentation, immigration, and some extant security issues that the Ethiopian government is examining. The ambassador also said the Ethiopian government will continue its effort to implement an unhindered humanitarian truce in Tigray, regardless of all the impediments. Ethiopian Prime Minister removed Johannes Boyaleo as the Director of Foreign Relations Strategic Study. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed removed Johannes Boyaleo as the Director of the Ethiopian Foreign Relations Strategic Study Institute. He has been in the position for more than a year now. A short letter from Abiy Ahmed, which is circulated on social media, said, "Thanking for you for the contribution you have made as the director of the Ethiopian Foreign Relations Strategic Study Institute. You are removed from the positions as of April 28. No explanation is given as to why Mr. Johannes Boyalo, who has also served as the head of the Amhara Region Prosperity Party head, removed from his position. Mr. Johannes has recently, especially after the second Prosperity Party Congress, been a vocal critic of practices in ruling Prosperity Party. One of the issues he was criticizing is that the ethnic Amhara representation in the ruling party has mostly become nominal. He is over the view that Amhara is targeted by the ruling party top officials. We'll now move into one story we have chosen to present to you in more details. In News in Details, we will see how U.S. retreat will define the Nile Dam dispute. This is an opinion piece appeared at Asian Times. The writer, Danish Comet, analyzed in its April 25, 2022 edition. He says tensions between Ethiopia and Egypt over a highly controversial dam on the Blue Nile are expected to rise over the next few months. Other rainy season marks the next phase of filling the reservoir. The dispute already represents one of the world's most serious diplomatic con, um, conundrums at times when climate change is making water scarcity a more critical issue. Adding to the complexity, the conflict is likely to become emblematic of ongoing shifts away from the U.S. Dominated unipolar world order. According to this writer, that tension is expected to witness the emergence of China in region vacated or neglected by the US and the emergence of a regional multilateral grouping that will manage collective regional security. In February, Ethiopia began generating electricity from the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD, despite protests downstream from Egypt and Sudan. The dam, as Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is reeling from a damaging civil war in Tigray and faltering economy, the dam will allow Abiy to whip up nationalist sentiment, says the writer. Meanwhile, Egyptian President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi faces political turbulence in the months ahead due to Egypt's economy being particularly exposed to the global repercussions of the Ukraine war. Having framed the dam as an existential threat to Egypt, its completion by Ethiopia carries high political costs for Sisi. Yet neither he nor Abiy can afford to go to war over the issue. Ethiopia has faced a strident criticism and sanctions from the U.S. over the Tigray conflict. As a result, the U.S. is no longer considered a neutral arbiter, at least by Ethiopia. Furthermore, US President Joe Biden's administration is far too distracted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the China to pay attention to rising tension between Egypt and Ethiopia. This month, the Biden administration's special envoy for the Horn of Africa announced his resignation a mere 3 months after assuming his position. His predecessor too resigned after less than a year on the job. This is a further sign of drift in US foreign policy, particularly in this region, sorry. Rising tensions over the dam in the context of warning American presence will allow regional states to seek closer integration on security matters. Without an immediate solution to the dam issue, Egypt is likely to pursue tighter integration with Sudan to present a united front against Ethiopia. The dam issue then will not only be a marker of a move away from a US dominated world, but will be an important test case for China's superpower ambitions. The writer elaborates this topic from different perspectives, mainly that of Asia African geopolitics and China's involvement in the economy, social, political, and matters of the region. We leave the rest of the content for our viewers and listeners to read and acquire the essence of the content. Well, with that, we come to the end of the news for today. For those of you who are in a celebratory mood, we wish you a happy holiday. This has been Shimelis Marisa Gebremichael here at the UMD Media. Please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow our programs through our other platforms, including Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook to be the first to know what's going on in Ethiopia, the Horn, Africa, and the world in general. You can easily reach us via our email address, newstips2020umd@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and have a good one.